Welcome to the Joy School Podcast. Real talk about what it takes to create your happiest, healthiest, and most dynamic life. And now, here's your host, transformational life coach, happiness strategist, and best-selling author, Kristi Ling Spencer.
Well, hello, amazing friends. Thanks for being back with me again for another episode of the Joy School Podcast. So grateful to be here with you. If you missed last week's show, my conversation with publisher Linda Joy, please go back and check that one out. It was such an inspiring conversation. She is wonderful. And that show was really all about resilience and getting through life's curveballs. And, I always like to say on this show that no matter how much we focus on our happiness and our joy and our well-being, we're going to get curveballs in life. Reality is going to happen. Life is going to happen. And learning to navigate those things with more ease and grace and even more joy in some situations makes such a difference. So if you missed last week's show, please go back and check that out. And I'm very excited for this week's show. I'm actually going to share a little bit of personal information with you, but it really inspired me for the topic that we're going to discuss this week. And that is about more love for yourselves, more love for the inside of your physical body. And Jim Rohn said, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live in. I love that quote, and it's a little cheeky, but it is also so true. And I'm going to share with you a little epiphany that I had this week. And I was like, wow, it was such a big thought to me. And then my next thought after it was, that's a podcast. So I have to share this with you. So recently, I had an overall checkup with my doctor, one of my annual checkups. I try to be really diligent about all my screenings and blood work and going in annually for a checkup. And that is part of my self-care. And I am also very health and wellness focused. I geek out on reading scientific studies and statistics. And I really do put a lot of effort into caring for my health and well-being overall. But this epiphany I had that was kind of followed by a diagnosis, a little bit of a wake-up diagnosis, nothing too serious, but it opened my eyes to realize that I needed to go next level. And let me just share with you, first of all, I'm going to share that diagnosis, but I'm going to share with you this epiphany because some of you listening might be like, holy cow, right? Yes, it's so true. So my doctor, I discussed with her having a bone density test. Now, I'm fairly young for that, but my mom was adopted. We don't really know our family history in that area, but she does have an onset of some osteoporosis. And I thought, not a bad idea in midlife for me to get a baseline on where I'm at on that. And my doctor was like, well, since your mom has got it and you don't know your family history, probably a good idea to just have it done, even though I'm not expecting anything and you're still at a younger age. So went and got the bone density test. And lo and behold, I was a little bit blindsided because it did come back that I am in a stage of what is called osteopenia, which is basically the stage before osteoporosis. So it is a bone condition where you have slightly weakened bones, a slightly increased risk of fracture, but it's not quite as serious as osteoporosis yet. And this was eye-opening for me because I exercise. I generally take care of my bones, but I had never really put a ton of thought and focus into it. I did all the basic things, taking my supplements, and in no way did I think this bone density test would come back as anything other than normal. However, in doing some research on this, I learned that you can, especially if you're at a younger midlife age, reverse this and do some things to help it and strengthen your bones and actually help to prevent it from developing into osteoporosis. But even if you're in your 20s or 30s and you're listening to this podcast, it is so important to think about not just your bone health, because this is a long-term effort, right? Caring for your bones and your brain and your heart and all of your cells, all of your working parts inside of your body is a long-term investment, because you don't always see immediate results. Although I do think that we do see some immediate results with gut health, right? When we start to do our probiotics and eat cleaner and cut back on alcohol, I think we notice a difference in the way we feel right away. And there are some efforts we can do with our health that increase our energy levels immediately and all kinds of other good things, right? Our mood, it can affect our mood. But many things such as bone health, it's like out of sight, out of mind, right? So I had this epiphany the next morning after I got this diagnosis, and it was really kind of eating at me a little bit. Like I was taken aback and I was like, okay, time for a reset, right? Time to look at what can I do in my life to take better care of my bones. And then I thought, well, what can I do in my life to take better care of my cells, of the insides of my body overall? And the next morning I was in my bathroom, putting on makeup, looking in the mirror, putting on my face cream and getting ready for my cosmetics and getting ready, my morning routine. And I had this epiphany and I was like, wow, I put so much thought and intention and effort into my outer appearance, right? And all of us do. We do the haircuts and the lotions and potions and the anti-wrinkle creams, and we brush our teeth, right? Everybody brushes their teeth, hopefully twice a day. Some of us more. We get haircuts. Some of us do supplements, right? For skin and hair. Some of us do Botox or fillers, hair products, skin creams, sunscreens, cosmetics, the way we dress and style ourselves. We put so much thought and effort on a daily basis into how we take care of the outside of our bodies and take care of our appearance, our physical appearance. What if we put that much thought and intention and effort on a daily basis into caring for the insides of our body, for our bones, our brains, our cells, our heart, our organs, right? Vital organs, our blood, all the inner workings of what's on the inside. What if we put as much effort and thought and research, right? And homework into how to care for those parts of us as we do in caring and putting effort into caring for our appearance and the outside, right? Our skin, our hair, our nails. I forgot to mention nails, the way we dress, anti-wrinkle this, anti-wrinkle that, moisturize this, all of the things. Really think about this. This was a big epiphany for me because I was like, wow, I like to think that I am definitely one of those people that puts a lot of effort into my health. And I do. I eat very clean. I read studies. I'm fascinated by studies. I do exercise, although I have to admit I could exercise more. And something that has become very apparent to me lately, and I've talked about this on the show before, is how important two things are when it comes to fitness. Walking, especially like power walking or intense walking, and weight-bearing exercise. If you just do those two things, you will be on a great track for long-term health, especially weight-bearing. And that is something that I've really opened my eyes to even more with this diagnosis, right? But so I started to think about, okay, my organs each need their own unique type of care, or, maybe cutting something out of my diet that might be affecting it, or different types of supplemental support, whatever it is, right? And speaking of supplemental support, my doctor advised me that I needed to increase my calcium intake. And I recently learned how difficult that is to get from food. And this is for guys, but especially for women. We need a little more calcium, and we are more subject to bone conditions as we age. But here's something that I learned that was interesting. So my doctor recommended that I get 1,200 milligrams of calcium per day. And I thought, well, I love cheese and I eat Greek yogurt, organic Greek yogurt, and I eat a lot of spinach. I eat a lot of calcium-rich foods, and I was taking a supplement. And I thought, I'm sure I get enough calcium. Well, when I looked it up and I added it all up, an entire cup of spinach has only 30 milligrams, and I needed to get 1,200 a day. And then I looked at the supplement I was taking, and each pill, because I can't swallow large pills. I don't know about you, but those horse pills, I can't do it. So I was taking smaller pills. Well, the serving size on the one I was taking is 6 pills a day. Sorry, probably going to have a hard time doing that. And I think I was taking 2. And I was really only getting about 200 or 300 milligrams out of those pills. And I'm like, wow, I'm probably, if I added up, have only been getting half the calcium that my body actually needs at the place I'm at in my life. That was very eye-opening to me. And so there are probably other supplements that I want to look into to say, how am I getting this from food? Because food is usually the best way. But also, what are some other things I might be able to do to get that, right? But this isn't a show about supplements. That was just one example of something that I'm looking at. Also, like I said, more weight bearing. But really think about this. So compare how intentional and how much effort you put into on a daily basis into caring for your appearance and the outsides of your body. And then compare that to how much thought and effort and actual activity and taking action you do on a daily basis to care for the inside of your body, your cells, to love your cells, right? To love your organs. And so I'm going to give you some ideas for that, but I really wanted to do this episode and get you all thinking about this. And I've got something really fascinating to share with you. And I love facts and statistics. And this is an eye-opening one. So I was reading online about life expectancy here in the US. And in 1900, life expectancy was 47 years old, right? I already wouldn't be here anymore if I was living back in 1900. And in 1950, that had increased from 47 years old to 68 years old. Pretty good increase, right? That was 1950. By 2019, life expectancy had risen in the U.S., and this is in the U.S., but I imagine this applies to many developed countries around the world. So by 2019, life expectancy had risen to nearly 79 years. That's quite a difference from 1950 at 68 years old to 2019 to 79, right? But in 2020, life expectancy in the US fell to 77. And in 2021, it dropped more to 76. So we are on a downward spiral on life expectancy. And I think a lot of this has to do with the increased amount of time on screens, which is taking away from so many things. It's not just taking away from our physical activity. It's taking away from our joy. It's taking away from our brain health. It's taking away from having fun in life and connecting with other human beings and our animals, right? Our dogs and cats and other pets. How many of you have had your dog sitting by you or bugging you for attention when you're on a screen, right? And your dog is trying to tell you something, or your spouse, or your kids, or whoever's telling you, hey, I need your attention, but yet we're on a screen. I do think that that is part of it. I think another part of it is that it has affected our exercise, right? We're not exercising as much. We're also not getting outside as much. And exposure to fresh air and sunshine is essential for the health of our cells. You absolutely need several minutes of actual sunshine a day for your body to properly produce and absorb vitamin D, right? And vitamin D is an essential vitamin for your heart health and for your bone health and your brain health and so many other things, disease prevention, your immune system. And you need to get outside for that. So I think that there are so many factors that are causing our life expectancy to drop. But I want to challenge everybody who listens to this show to share with your friends and family this information. And if this little epiphany that I had resonated with you, I want you to share it far and wide. I want everybody to really start thinking about putting more effort and intention on caring for the insides of their body. And I believe I've said this before on the show as well. You know, think of your body as a fancy car. What kind of fuels are you putting into it? How are you taking care of it? Are you changing the tires? You know, are you washing the windshield and all of the things? Because as Jim Rome said, your body is the only place you have to live. And really health, it is so true, is the ultimate wealth. It's not how much money you have, and it's not how many things you have, and it's not how successful you are in your business. At the end of the day, the true wealth is actually your physical health. There is nothing more important. And taking care of your body and your mind and your spirit and your soul is your greatest and grandest responsibility. And so this diagnosis that I had, followed by that little epiphany the next morning while I was putting on face creams and makeup in the bathroom, has really inspired me to look at my life, which I already live a very healthy lifestyle, as most of you who listen to the show or follow me know, but am I perfect? Absolutely not. Could I step it up and get better in some areas? 100%. And so that is my intention going forward. And I'm making some pretty big changes, actually, starting by I just ordered a new set of weights and I am weight training more. I'm actually going to start working with a personal trainer to show me some specific exercises I can do for lower back health, because that was one of the areas that was the weakest in my bone density test, but also just overall strength, right? Because if I'm being honest with myself, I would like to feel stronger. And some of you might remember on an earlier episode, I talked about the fall that I had a few months ago down an escalator. Oh my gosh, not only was it mortifying because dozens of people were watching this happen as I was flailing around, but it was so scary. And, knowing this information that I know now, I look back and I think, wow, I don't want anything like that to happen again. And also, if it does happen to happen again, I don't want to be at a higher risk of a fracture or a break. I don't want to be in a place in my life where I have to be afraid that if I fall on the stairs or I trip in the kitchen, that I'm going to break a bone, right? And so really being more intentional about this stuff. So that was what I wanted to share with you all today. And that information about life expectancy going down, wow, if that isn't an eye-opener, I'm not sure what is. There are so many contributing factors to that, but the ones I mentioned, I think are big. Also, obesity, right? That's a big one. A couple of years ago, I worked very hard and made some lifestyle changes, and I actually lost 20 pounds, and I've been able to keep it off without really any effort, just by better habits and cleaner eating and better lifestyle changes, right? And exercising a bit more. Well, now I'm going to step it up even more, but I'm also increasing my protein through more plant-based protein sources because we need that. In fact, in the last few years, and I believe I've talked about this on the show as well, but they've discovered that we need more protein than they ever thought. So there are many things playing into these factors. But if we do our homework, and part of doing our homework is listening to podcasts like this. I can't tell you how many great podcasts I listen to. I love podcasts and I love the world of podcasting. It opens up so many voices and so much great information. And I also love that information like this information on the life expectancy facts, right? Can be that I can do all this research for you all and I can drill it down and put it into a 20 or 30 minute show that is a very digestible and actionable, right? I love that so much. So I think on a future episode, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite podcasts and give some shout outs to them so that you can go see if they might be something you would enjoy. But doing our homework, doing our research, and then putting it into action with intention. And it doesn't have to be drastic changes. It can be small steps. If you haven't read Darren Hardy's book, The Compound Effect, I highly recommend that because it really is all about how small things and things that you don't always see immediate results from can add up over time to big payoffs. And I really think that significantly applies when it comes to taking care of our health, especially our invisible health, which is our cells and our organs and the insides of our body, our heart health, our brain health, the health of our liver and kidneys, and our gut health especially, which more and more they're finding how that is linked to mental health, right? Linked to emotional health, linked to heart health, linked to things like depression depression and anxiety. So that's another big one. I encourage you all to go and do some homework in these areas and see what might work for you, because everybody's different. And maybe you are one of those people that takes optimum prime health of every area of your body and life. And if that is you, you are goals. And I want to give you all a shout out. But most of us are on some sort of a scale, right? Of a 1 to 10. So take a minute now and give yourself an honest number on a 1 to 10 on how well overall you really put thought and effort and action and habits into caring for yourself and your physical body. And this can be also your mental health. And this can go ahead and include your outer health and your appearance in that, because I actually do think that that is part of healthcare, and that it does also affect our joy, our happiness, and our mental health. So include it all and give yourself a number on a 1 to 10. If I'm being honest with myself, I would say I fluctuate somewhere between a 7 and an 8.5. And that took me years to get to that place. So, and all of this research that I share with you, right? And everything I shared in my book and all the habits I've created. And if I'm still being honest and I'm not perfect, I'm right about in that range. And so if you're not even to a 6 or a 7, that's okay. That's okay. It's not too late. There are so many healing habits, healing information, and things you can do to increase it. And as we start to head into 2024, think about the goals you want to have for yourself, right? And I'm going to be talking a lot more about that on future episodes. I just love the new year. I love a fresh start. I have so many positive intentions that I want to share with you all in upcoming episodes and in programs I'm developing. So give yourself that score and then don't judge yourself for it. Just make it honest information. It's really just information and feedback for you to use as a baseline going forward. And then maybe journal or make a list of things that you'd like to do in your life to take better care of yourselves and increase your own personal life expectancy, right? All right. So with that, this is the part of the show called the Joy School Habits, where we talk about a small intention or action that you can take or a small habit you can create that will have some big payoff. And I love this one for this week. And it does kind of tie into the topic for the show today. But this one is to start prioritizing fun with more intention. So look at ways in your life to be more silly, to have more laughter, to have more fun like you did when you were a kid. So I remember several years back, I went to Hawaii and there was a guy there that had this sign that people were taking pictures with on the beach. And it was a fun meter and it had an arrow on it that you could move, and you could move the fun meter as to how much fun you were having. And that really got me thinking about, wow, I don't think I have as much fun in my life as I really should be. And I have to tell you, there are scientific studies and lots of information that shows that real, actual, authentic fun is so good for your health, inside and emotional health. So good for you. But most of us really, yes, we're being entertained, or we're spending time with friends and family, or maybe we have some hobbies that bring us joy, right? And help increase our happiness and well-being. But how much actual fun are we having? So last fall, the American Psychological Association surveyed a group of adults and found that 77% of them said that stress from things going on in the world, like politics and cultural tensions and violence and inflation, were affecting their health. And they were having headaches and exhaustion and disrupted sleep and nervousness and anxiety and depression and all of these things, right? More fun can absolutely help alleviate that. But yet we don't prioritize it. We minimize it, in fact, as trivial, right? But the truth is, fun is essential for our joy and our happiness and our health and our mental health. And for sure, it is part of what we talk about on this show. This show is all about creating more happiness and well-being and joy in our life. And fun is a big part of that. And what fun is different for everyone. It can be a hobby that you love that brings you laughter and joy. It can be time with friends who lift you up and make you laugh that you can be silly with, right? My best friend, my BFF since I was 7 years old, loves to prioritize silliness. In fact, a few years ago, after she'd gone through a divorce, when she was single and she was looking for a new partner in her life, which she has found a lovely, lovely partner at this point. But I remember her saying to me, I just want to find somebody I can be more silly with and have fun with. And I loved that because really, that is the truth. And so, like I said, most of us have our hobbies and our time with friends, and we're entertained and we do things that are kind of fun. But what's the level of fun? What's your fun meter at, right? And here's another area where we can do a scale of 1 to 10. So think about your last week or your last 2 weeks or your last month. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much actual fun have you had? Where when you were done with an experience or a day or an evening or whatever it was, you're like, that was so much fun. And if we're not having fun, everybody, why are we here, right? Life is about fun, and it's okay to prioritize it. So I just want to, for this week's Joy School Habit, shift the way you look at fun a little bit and invite you and challenge you to start prioritizing fun with more intention. And like I said, it's different for everybody, but I will say that for the most part, it does not involve screens. It involves things that make you feel like a kid again, or that invite fun memories, which you can use to create more fun memories now. It might be visiting an amusement park. It might be going to a play or a comedy club, something outside of your regular bubble, right? It might be time with your dog. To me, going to the dog park, throwing a ball, or watching the dogs run around, that's actual fun. And so recently I watched the movie Haunted Mansion just before Halloween. And I have to say, I wouldn't categorize many movies as fun, but this one was kind of fun. But what I found fun about it was that it brought up fun memories from when I was growing up. And I used to love that ride at Disneyland. The Haunted Mansion was one of my absolute favorites. I was mesmerized by the holograms of the ghosts that sat next to you in the chair and all of the whimsy and the magic around it, right? And really, if you think about it, fun involves a lot of whimsy and magic and actually marveling at things and laughter. How much actual laughter are you experiencing in your life? For me, when I think about how many days go by where I didn't really laugh even one time, it kind of makes me sad. So that's one area that I'm looking at increasing fun in my life is how can I increase laughter? More laughter, right? It's so good for you. And there are studies on that as well. So really be thinking about this. And I always like to talk about making over your mornings and setting your intentions in the mornings, right? And setting yourself up for a great day. So maybe for all of us, right? Part of our morning routine can just be taking a minute or two to putting some thought into how am I going to have some fun today and experience some laughter, and then doing that with intention. All right, my friends, if you enjoyed this episode, if you had fun with me today, I would be so grateful if you would leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. This is how you can help the show reach more people who might also enjoy it. And I do read them all. And I can't tell you enough, this is a great way to support the podcasters that bring some kind of value to your life. Those reviews do mean a lot, and they do help the algorithm. So please jump over there if you'd like to support the show. And be sure to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. Those are my two biggest communities. And I invite you to also visit my website at KristiLingSpencer.com, where you can access my free video masterclass, 11 Habits of the Happiest People. And you can find some other supportive resources there as well as all of the information on my new program, The Joy School, my new signature membership program. Oh, you all, this is launching this coming week, and I am so excited about it. In fact, you can learn all about it over at jointhejoyschool.com. But this is a monthly membership program where I do live coaching and a new class, video class every month, and workbooks and worksheets and bonus classes and all kinds of things to level up our life. So if you liked everything we talked about in the show today, that is a great, inexpensive resource for you to have ongoing support in your life to do all of these things. More fun, more health, more happiness, more joy. It's all in there. And I'm so excited about it. It's everything I envisioned it would be. And it's launching, gosh, like literally I'm doing the tests of all the tech today. So it's going to be launching within the next week, maybe even by the time you listen to this episode. So find out all about it at jointhejoyschool.com. It's going to be a fantastic community of like-minded people and so many great resources. All right. Much love to you all. Thank you so much for being with me for another episode. Can't wait to be with you again soon. Have a fantastic week, my beautiful friends. And remember, you've got what it takes to create more amazing days. And more amazing days make up a pretty amazing life. Much love, and I will be with you soon.